Morning, we're in Winchester. We're going to have a little quick look around. This is where we stayed last night, and we're going to have a quick look around the town this morning. You can park on here on these coach bays for camper vans, and so they are up there. It's £7.30 for the day. However, it's free if you're disabled. So, anyway, we're off to have a look at the cathedral and possibly a couple of other things, but we're not here for long because it's a long drive home. We're just having a quick nosy round because we're here. This is a statue of Lucretia of Winchester. She was a medieval businesswoman, a working mother, a leader in her community. Like many Jewish women of her time, she was highly educated, this enabled her to succeed in a man's world despite prejudice. She paid a major levy towards the building of Westminster Abbey and financed many other projects. The Jewish community suffered severe religious persecutions, and the prejudices formed at the time still linger today. The message of love thy neighbour as thyself at the base of the statue, shared by Jews, Christians and Muslims, is important to follow now as it is in her time. It was in her time. We just turned on to Winchester High Street, and kind of reminds me a little bit of Chester, I suppose. That's a fair old clock, that, and a little walkway to get to it. Quite cool. Oh God, I'll tell you what, I'm coughing and got a lot of phlegm on my chest. There we go, there's Winchester Cathedral. Wow, I must admit, it's quite a big overpowering building. I didn't expect it to be that tall and that big. Anyway, it's supposed to be open now. Yeah, as Christine's pointed out. Don't look like it. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, we're going to go and have a look and see if we can get in and have a nosy around this cathedral. There's a cenotaph. True tradition for cathedrals. There's your gift shop and the cafe, and looks like we should be open, so we'll see. Look at that, to get in a cathedral, £13.50. Look at them VCs on there. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 VCs on there. Wow. Just waiting for Christine to pay. Just remortgaged the house. £13.50 each to come in here. I mean, Christine got a disabled thing, so just had to pay for one of us, me. £13.50. Unbelievable. I can't get over it. Just gotta wait for Christine so we can go in. Do you know what that is? Book of Remembrance, I think. Looking at the stained glass windows, and some of them I don't think are as old as what you think, because one of them's like a broken down footballer. So I'm presuming that at some stage a lot of these have been replaced. And it's a shame they're not proper pictures. I do like proper pictures. That's more like it. It is a very, very big building. I think Winchester's got a big military history, so I think the Gurkhas are based here at Winchester, so we're possibly going to go and have a look at their museum, which I think could be quite interesting. I think £13.50 to come in. I'm going to be honest, I think he's an extortionate. Let's have a look in the middle bit. HMS Iron Duke, we saw that. That was one of the ships in the harbour. Wow. Wow, now that is stunning. That is quite fantastic. Amazing. Oh, a couple of reserved seats there. The scene looks quite cool, and we'll go through and have a look at that side in a bit. It's a 12th century tomb. It says, this tomb may contain the remains of Henry of Blois, Bishop of Winchester, 1129 to 1171. He was brother of King Stephen, founded the Hospital of St. Cross, and inspired the creation of the Winchester Bible. William Rufus was originally buried here in 1100. Wow. It is quite magnificent. But compared to what we pay across just about everywhere we've been in Europe, I think it's a very, very high price to pay. I mean, look at the altar though, and the setting behind it. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. And the ceiling, all the crests. I mean, it must have been a very overpowering building in its day. Fantastic. We'll go back down this bit because this is where we saw that fantastic ceiling a minute ago. So we'll have a look around here. Look at that. How fantastic is that? I mean, that is beautiful. Was a Bishop of Winchester, Samuel Wilberforce. Look at the door. Absolutely fantastic. We might come across his grave. To the sacred memory of Major General Sir John Campbell Bart, named for the honour of KCB. Had he survived, who fell at the head of his brigade in leading it to the assault on the Great Redden at Sevastopol. This tablet has been raised by the officers, non-commissioned officers and soldiers, which he served for 33 years. Sevastopol. Oh, actually, I think that's Crimea. We won't be going to Ukraine. Or Russia, whoever you think should have it. I was mixing it up with Gallipoli, but no. of Winchester. Okay, this is Henry Cardinal Beaufort, Bishop of Winchester. He was the son of John of Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster and brother of King Henry IV, who was created a cardinal in 1426. Oh, that's fantastically decorated. But, it's a shame you can't really go in. The ceiling is amazing. I mean, one could only presume that that's how all of them used to be decorated before the Reformation. That's better. That's what I like to see, is stained glass windows. Not the one of fragments, which is all quite new. I find that quite disappointing. Another one, that's Godfrey de Lucy. And this is the site of St Swithin Shrine. St Swithin was Bishop of Winchester in 852 to 862. His remains were originally enshrined behind the high altar and later removed. A marble shrine on this site was destroyed in 1538. So he's actually under there then. This is called Guardians of Angels Chapel, and look at the angels on the ceiling. That's really nice. Good though. Pardon?
Been to any of the courthouses?
Hey?
I've been to any of the exits, yes.
Yeah.
All the sanctuary benches, I've not been in there.
There's some just over there. Hello. Oh, okay.
It's open.
Now we're going to take a look behind the crypt now.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That's all right.
This is the original Norman east of the cathedral. Well,
How weird is that?
yeah, it's underwater, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you get on video?
Yeah. Bit strange, there's like a monument in the middle. But, it's underwater. Didn't expect to see that. That's me done anyway. Okay, we've come back down into the crypt again, filming on Christine's camera. The statue in front of you is an Anthony Gormley, and apparently just on his chest bone is a little hole, and it draws the water up and makes like a cup of water that's inside. But the thing that like Winchester Cathedral is kind of built in the wrong place, and because it floods, it naturally floods all the time. They did at one time to once they realised it was doing that they kind of filled it with soil up to, I don't know, wherever it was, but about I think 100 years ago they dug all that lot out and sealed it as it is today. But it comes from the river, and that never changes, and sometimes in the year it's flooded and sometimes it's not. Thank you.
I can't on it if you want to see. It's clear on there.
We're coming. Hang on a minute. I'll turn that. These are some original wall paintings. You have to remember that this church, this cathedral was built in about 1067, I think it was. So, and it is, I think it's the only original cathedral of Norman building that exists for us in the UK. We are going to be coming back to here. The ticket does last a year, so we're going to make our way back if we can. Apparently, up in the, I think back there, but up in the top part of it, are all the bones from loads of kings and queens and such like, and that were buried there. But the bones have been moved and all sorts, and it looks like they were all jumbled up in a bit of a mix. But there is one set of bones that belong to a woman, and they think that the bones relate to King Canute's wife, and I'm not sure what they called her, Edith? Emma? Edith? Something like that, yeah. So we are going to try and come back to see a couple of other things that are not open at the moment. We're going to take a look at the treasury. Seems to be up these stairs. Into here. Just give you a great view down the cathedral from here. I think it's made up of old and new pieces of glass, which I'm not really so sure about, to be fair. Stairs here. Is that something like King James? Don't know. Doesn't tell me. Right, we're going to go now, and we're going to come back a little bit later. Okay, this is built upon the site of the Chapel Royal of the Palace of William the Conqueror. Small, isn't it? You have to remember it would have been William the Conqueror that would have had Winchester Cathedral built. And this is pretty much next door to it. Quite cool. We're taking a walk down here because I think apparently this is... Oh, I don't know. This is the oldest bar in England, but I don't really believe that. I'm sure there's one in Bolton that claims that, and there's one in...
Turn right onto High Street.
So anyway, we've called at a shop for some stuff for me coffin and such like, and we're now heading up for a place that's called the Great Hall, and we're going back to the cathedral again. So get on the way to the Great Hall, we've got to take a look through the arch. Just walked up through the town. I presume this would have been the entrance into the city, I would have thought. Yeah. So, following this time, we're heading for the Great Hall and the Round Table, which synonymous with King Arthur. Original walls and walkways, which would probably have been the original for Winchester, are called the castle passageways. Apparently when Winchester was capital of England, the great castle stood on this spot, and from here the King of England ruled supreme across the Dominion. Now some 800 years later, all that remains is the Great Hall and these ruins of a tower from a castle. These restored passageways in the basement of this tower that led to the great city moat surrounding the castle offer a glimpse of a world we can only imagine. So we're going to have a look in there. Apparently you can't actually get in, so they've like blocked it all off, which is a bit of a shame, but never mind. But we're going to go into here because this is the Great Hall. So take a look in here. Christine, I'm not. No.
That's for everyone.
It's £12.50 for me.
It's £8. The Great Hall.
Alright. God, I can't tell you how expensive it is. Hi.
Hello. We're here to visit the Great Hall and the West Gate today.
Well, they come together, don't we?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Disabled and carer.
Lovely, thank you very much. Right, and get that all system, so still a little bit slow to get
That's
through.
okay.
I'm really sorry about that. So we will entry. So just to let you know as well, our tickets are on the way. Oh, I'm sorry, so the ones over there. There's a red paint to make over that. Do you want to do it on here? I think I managed it. It's all okay. I've got rid of them, so that was a relief. Didn't want to end up.
I'll let Christine do that now. Start to take a walk around. So, the Great Hall. There's stained glass windows to some of the kings. I think there's what you would call maybe a family tree, I think. But that's what you come more to see, which is the Round Table, which Round Table is synonymous with, well, King Arthur. basically goes on to tell you that no matter how hard people have tried to wring him into real life, he isn't really. It was in the 15th century that Thomas Malory created the image of Camelot, which we have been there, or what they call Camelot, which was down in Cornwall area, we think. But the idea of the round table is that all men are created equal, so there isn't anybody sat at the top of the table in charge, and that's why it's round. So everybody is the same. Again, some William of Saxony, King John. They cut all their coats of arms. Richard the First. I mean, I've nearly done it in Christine paper yet, so fantastic. We're going to take a look in it's the medieval garden of Queen Eleanor. Now, was it Queen Eleanor then that was?
Queen Eleanor's garden.
Yeah, Queen Eleanor's garden. A recreation of the 13th century garden opened by Her Majesty the Queen Mother. There's a recreation of what this would have looked like. I expect it looks really nice in the summer. I do quite like these gates, doors. I think they're inscribed 1081, which I don't think that's when they were made, but I think that might have been when this great hall was built, or this part of it. I mean, you have to remember that this was the capital of England, and kings did live here, so, which is hard to understand when we're always brought up with London. But I do like these coats of arms. I think they're really good. Really cool. Can't believe I spelled my bloody name wrong. Pretty poor, isn't it? Okay, we're going to have to look in the long gallery and gift shop, which will probably, well, who knows. I think that's how it was built, the wheel, the round table. this castle. That's William the Conqueror in it. How about that for memorial? Very different. There's a bench and then a soldier's pack. How cool is that? That's very different. Very, very different. Never seen anything like that before.
The wedding.
Yeah.
Clearance was essential.
This is the Westgate Museum.
Waste and otherwise was eventually removed in several cartloads. Restored to its old appearance internally, the Westgate's completion and opening as a museum took place on the 16th of September 1898. The opening ceremony was a hospitable and abundance of pleasant elements. And afterwards, the visitors enjoyed the panorama from the battlements, over which floated proudly the city standard. The inevitable photographer appeared
Cook, try the armour on for the kids.
The Westgate continues to serve
Weights and
as a
measures.
museum. Its displays augmented in recent years by the fine pewter painted ceiling and frieze. Do remember to visit
Commission weight system.
enjoy a panorama of the city for yourself.
There's all the upstairs.
City of Champions costume.
Is there a car back? Is there a car back?
Yeah, there you go. Ready?
Good day to you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Alderman William Henry Jacob, former honorary curator of this museum. The Westgate alone remains of the main gates of the ancient city, a precious structure with a history extending back to the 12th and 14th centuries. The Roman predecessors of the city portals, beyond doubt, occupied the position of the later gates, but nothing now survives of them. Behind you, in the portcullis arch, you can discover something of the Westgate's early history. Towards the end of medieval times, the city's walls and defended gateways became obsolete and dilapidated. The east, north and south gates succumbed to demolition, and other uses were found for the Westgate. In Tudor times, there is frequent mention of the Gate Prison, and one document, dated 1573, records that no freeman was committed to Westgate except he is confined for debt, trespass, or default of sureties, or arrearages of account. From this, we see the nature of the offences of those committed. Its use as a debtor's prison continued down to about the year 1745. During the restoration of the gate, a joyful trouble and very necessary before we could open as a museum, the walls were cleared of their plaster and revealed interesting carving. The chalk blocks are covered with curious wall scratchings of prisoners, nautical, heraldic, religious. Names are abundant, ranging from the beginning of the 17th down to the middle of the 18th centuries. And there was one date of 1597 behind you, inscribed on the portcullis arch. The fragmentary remains of utensils said to have been used by the prisoners were found beneath the floorboards and are now exhibited in the corner behind me. From the late 18th century to sometime in the 19th, the Great Chamber was used as a place of entertainments and was the smoking room of the Fighting Cock's public house, later known as the Plume of Feathers, which abutted the gate on the north side. The Great Chamber next became a muniment room, a repository for the city's archives, housing the manuscripts of many ages, from Edward I to Victoria the Beloved. Before we could open as a museum, clearance was essential. The mass of paper, waste and otherwise, was eventually removed in several cartloads. Restored to its old appearance internally, the Westgate's completion and opening as a museum took place on the 16th of September 1898. The opening ceremony was a hospitable one, with a goodly tea and abundance of pleasant edibles. And afterwards, the visitors enjoyed the panorama from the battlements, over which floated proudly the city standard. The inevitable photographer appeared in order to record the scene. The Westgate continues to serve the city as a museum, its displays augmented in recent years by the fine Tudor painted ceiling and frieze. Do remember to visit the roof and enjoy the panorama of the city for yourselves.
I know. And there's some of the carvings on the walls that he was talking about. Okay, we're going to go and have a look on the roof. Now, it's got a low roof. This is where I usually smack my head, cut it open. Even though I know it's low, I can't often duck down low enough to get through. I have to go through my hands and knees. Must have been like bloody munchkins. I've made it. So, what we're going to look at now is Britain's oldest high street. There you go. Well, it says on the perfect day, so I'll be way over in the display. I think it'd be difficult to see for the trees or anything, to be honest.
St. Maurice's City.
Yeah, it's a nice city, I must admit. Let's have a look at the lead work. Oh dear. Look at that, they put like a putty in it, look. How rubbish is that, look? There. He says some of it's quite good. I mean, the rolls are good. Excuse me. The rolls are quite good. But look what they've done. I mean, your maximum piece of lead's 1.5 metres, and then you lay one over the other, and actually they've welded them together. It's all welded as one big piece. That means it can't expand or contract. So over time that'll just tear. Neat welding though, to be fair, but why would you weld it when... That's quite poor, that. Should know better. Should know better. I mean, look at the size of the door. Chris is going to stand next to it. Look at that. Bloody ridiculous. I think there's several military museums here. There's one for the rifles. But the one that I've come to see, we're not going to look around them all, but the one that I've come to see is the Gurkha Museum. So, see what this says. Great Old Peninsula Archery. Really? Well, oh yeah, Gurkha Museum. Oh, there's a Gurkha Museum. Well, there's the cookeries, look. Do you see it, look? No. The knives, cross knives on the top. It's called a cookery. Yeah. So, we're going to have a look in the Gurkha Museum.
We'll look at the Gurkha Museum, which way we've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello there.
Tickets.
Okay.
Okay. Disabled and carer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be, how do you pay?
Card, please.
Card, yeah. One adult and the one concession.
So the Gurkha take their name from a
11.50.
small
Is
town
that
of
okay?
Gorkha in west central Nepal. Over the years, the spelling has varied, but since 1891 the official spelling has been Gurkha, G-U-R-K-H-A. However, in Nepal and India it's spelled Gorkha, G-O-R-K-H-A. Pardon?
11.50.
No, yeah.
Yeah, when you're ready, just scan that for me.
You have to stick it
Try
in.
again. Yeah. Yeah. In number, please.
Different machine, that.
Yeah. Yeah. Accept it. Bingo card.
Not a ticket?
Yeah, that's your ticket.
Right, okay. Do I need to show that anywhere else? Oh,
No, just for the
Ah,
button,
okay.
so that's fine.
Okay, there's the flag.
Thank you.
Okay.
Regimental colours. This is just depicting where they're from in Nepal. So the only implements they have are the cookeries and agricultural tools.
Is it bright off your camera? Do you want me video?
Pardon?
Is it bright off your camera?
Yeah, I think so. Well, actually, it might be better on yours. Traditional Nepalese instruments. Look at that. Sacrificial corn. Yeah. After many years of conquest around Nepal, by 1814 the Gurkhas had begun savage raiding into British India. The British declared war and set 4 columns of troops to attack the widely separated Gurkha forces. There were numerous British assaults on fortified positions, stoutly defended by Gurkhas. Fighting was fierce and both sides had heavy casualties. The Gurkhas were not finally defeated until 1816. From the fighting grew a mutual respect and liking between the Gurkhas and the British. As a result, in 1815, the British raided the first 4 Gurkha regiments from among their former enemies. And there's some cookeries, like that. It's a cookery. A guy called Separ Budul Thapa from 2nd Gurkha Rifles, and he's taken a standard from one of the battles on the 20th of January 1846, the Battle of Alival.
What is it?
That's a gun captured by the Surmore Battalion, the 2nd Gurkhas.
Wow.
Wow. You wouldn't let us shoot him, would you?
No.
The Indian Mutiny broke out in Meerut in May 1857. It was chiefly a military mutiny confined to the native ranks of the East India Company's Bengal Army in northern India. There were several causes of unrest leading to the mutiny. The issue of cartridges for the new Enfield rifle was only one of these. Before loading, the soldier had to bite off the end of the cartridge, which was greased with fat. This was rumoured to be cow and pig fat, a religious outrage to Hindu and Muslim alike. The mutiny was a bloody affair. Both sides in the early stages, the rebels slaughtered large numbers of British women and children as well as men. Them rifles. Gurkhas were served in 14 campaigns during this period and were present on the frontier. That's between 1881 and 1918. They were awarded medals and classed as follows. So, India General Service Medal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Relief Chittern, India Medal twice, 3, 4, 5 times. India General Service Medal once, 1914, 1915 star. There's also 2 British officers that got the Victoria Cross in Hunza. You have to remember as well that the Gurkhas also Gurkhas also protected the Khyber Pass fort there.
The scene is number 11 picket, one of several guarding the camp at Dumdil in Waziristan on the northwest frontier. The garrison consists of Naik Nandalal Ghale, 6 riflemen, and a senior of the 5th Royal Gurkha Rifles. At 3:30 in the morning on the 21st of March 1937, the picket was attacked by some 40 Pathans who had crept close to the line. Their aim was to steal the Gurkhas' rifles. In this first rush, 2 Gurkhas were killed and all the rest were wounded. Despite a deep knife wound in his lung, Naik Nandalal rallied his men. He changed their positions frequently and kept up sporadic rifle fire to prevent another attack. Then the night collapsed, and rifleman Danbahadur Guru took charge. He had a bullet wound in his leg and had been stabbed twice. But he held the picket for 2 hours more until the Pathans withdrew. Help arrived soon after dawn. The 6 surviving Gurkhas recovered from their wounds. Naik Nandalal Gale and Rifleman Nanbahadar Guru received the Indian Order of Merit, and the others were given the Indian Distinguished Service Medal. Well-earned rewards for their spirit and gallantry.
I must admit, I mean, they were there for the China Rebellion. They've took lots of medals for things. There's a uniform. There's cookeries that we know as today. Fought in Burma.
The bell brought from the Manipur area after the campaign in 1891.
But there's one thing I've noticed. There's always to the glorious memory of the officers, which were always British soldiers. There's never to the memory of the Gurkhas themselves, and the ones that are leading the battalions and such like. They seem to be the ones that are remembered. We're reaching the First World War now, so. There was over 20,000 Gurkha casualties in the First World War, which was equal to the total amount of strength that they had in the Gurkha Brigade before the war started. There's Gallipoli, which we'll be going to, so they fought there as well.
The diorama shows a bombing party of the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Gurkha Rifles, attacking a German strongpoint in France during World War I. You are standing in the German trench, seeing the attack as the German defenders did before they surrendered. It all took place on the morning of the 10th of March 1915, when the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Gurkhas, was one of the attacking battalions of the 7th Meerut Division. Their orders were to capture German trenches near the village of Neuve-Chapelle. The attack started with an artillery barrage. When the barrage lifted, the Gurkhas rushed the German trenches. Havildar Bahadur Thapa led the bombing party, some of whom you see here. Their task was to capture the stronghold, and they did so with complete success. They captured 16 prisoners and 2 machine guns.
For his leadership and courage this day, Havildar Bahadur Thapa was awarded the Indian Order of Merit Second Class. In 1918, he earned the Indian Order of Merit First Class, and later on was made a member of the Order of the British Empire. He retired in 1947 as a Subedar Major, a soldier of great distinction.
There's a typical rifle and cookery that soldiers had, and that's a .303 rifle. They used those through the First World War to the end of the Second World War. And that's a typical service cookery.
And the value of a 3-inch mortar. The mortar could at that time fire its 10-pound bomb very rapidly up to a distance of 1600
Gurkha
yards.
rifles,
It fired
ensign.
high-explosive smoke or illuminating bombs. And its high trajectory
That was taken off a dead Japanese soldier lying by a tank that was taken out by somebody in the 7th Gurkha Rifles.
One shown here is from the 7th Gurkha Rifles in the famous 4th Indian Division, part of the 8th, besides garrison and training units. Gurkhas fought in Malaya, Burma, Iraq, Syria, North Africa, Italy and Greece, as well as serving on the northwest frontier of India and in Iran, Palestine and Cyprus. They had over 20,000 casualties and won 1,500 medals for bravery, including 12 Victoria Crosses. The scenes here represent a different activity in each of the 3 main campaigns in which Gurkhas took part. On the left is a Vickers medium machine gun of the 4th Gurkha Rifles, a unit of the 8th Army in North Africa. Each battalion had 6 of these guns, and their long range and rapid rate of fire from belts of 250 rounds made them extremely valuable, both in defensive positions and in supporting an attack. Moreover, by firing tracer, they can show which direction to follow and indicate boundaries for troops moving at night over featureless ground. In the center, men of the 10th Gurkha Rifles are shown in the final stage of clearing a Japanese bunker. The scene is based on a photograph taken in Burma. Because the Japanese nearly always fought to the death with fanatical courage, they had to be killed inside their bunkers and trenches with grenades or small arms fire. A slow and dangerous business. One Gurkha carries a Tommy gun, a heavy caliber submachine gun brought from the United States and highly effective for close quarter work. The tableau on the right shows the nature of the rocky, mountainous land where 9 Gurkha battalions fought in Italy, and the value of a 3-inch mortar. The mortar could, at that time, fire its 10-pound bombs very rapidly up to a distance of 1,600 yards. It fired high explosive, smoke or illuminating bombs, and its high trajectory enabled it to fire from out of enemy view and against targets hidden from reach of other weapons. There were 6 of these valuable weapons in each battalion. The one shown here is from the 7th Gurkha Rifles in the famous 4th Indian Division, part of the 8th Army. Men of the 10th Gurkha Rifles are shown in the final stage of clearing a Japanese bunker. The scene is
They
based
won
on
an awful lot of medals.
because the Japanese nearly always fought to the death with natural weapons. They had to be killed inside their bunkers and trenches with grenades or small arms. A slow and dangerous.
So it's from Malaya. I know they were very feared, or are very feared troops, and I think if they draw the cookery, they must draw blood. Oh, Gurkha Parachute Company beret there. Look, that was like a... There you go. Falklands. That's Gurkha. On 1941. This is just telling you how hard it is to get in. And only 2% of those that try actually make it. Good. You want to read that? Says the Victoria Cross, Britain's highest award of valour, was established in 1856 to honour acts of valour in the Crimean War. It was first awarded to a member of a Gurkha regiment in 1858 during the Indian Mutiny, and since then a further 25 crosses have been awarded to members of Gurkha regiments. 13 to British officers, 13 to Gurkhas from across 150 years of history and service. The most recent Victoria Cross awarded to Gurkha occurred in 1965 during the Borneo confrontation. And there's a list of the recipients. EC Museum, Adjutant General Corps Museum. Well, we're not really sure what that is, but we think it's to do, well, obviously, to do with police and Bushman. Okay, it says this scene recreates an incident that occurred in the Peninsular War during the Battle of Nivelle, which took place on 10th November 1813. The 83rd Regiment of Foot attacked a village at Amots. While the attack was in progress, Private Woodcock deserted, possibly to search for plunder. Later that day, Sergeant Hinchliffe, a member of the Staff Corps of Cavalry, was searching the village when he came across Private Woodcock at a house. Woodcock attempted to shoot the policeman but was disarmed and arrested. Private Woodcock was later tried at court-martial and found guilty and executed. Well, we're not going to dwell on it because we've not got an awful lot of time, but that was for women. First World War. Strange wording to use though, when it the glorious dead. What's that on there? The glorious dead. Made out matchsticks, but
Oh yeah, cool as that.
been there. That's Berlin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Gurkhas. Okay, we're back in the cathedral again now because we want to see this, the Kingdom Scribe's Birth of a Nation. So, are we walking up?
He's a very dedicated male subject. Yeah. Can you keep over to the right hand side, please?
Yes, no problem. St Swithin's Priory. We've got some old manuscripts, accounting rolls, what would have been for St Swithin's Priory, because people would have brought pigs, piglets, all sorts of things for the priory to survive, and these documents pertaining to that, so like accounts, if you like. So St Swithin's Priory is further up the road. Oh. Pardon? Well, you can't put a photograph in there, so might as well just go upstairs. We're not allowed to video in the Morley Library, but we've been in the real old library before, where the books were all chained. I think that was at Hereford, wasn't it? Where we went to see the, I can't remember what they call it. Do you know, I just can't remember. So this is all about building the cathedral. So it's a cycle of decoration and destruction repeated in the 1630s and 1640s. The most extreme Protestantism that led to so much being destroyed was replaced by a more ritual approach to worship, as encouraged by King Charles I. Not sure what that's got to do with anything. Yeah. The Seagull and the 6-bolt diver's helmet.
Oh, to go in the waterlogged depths.
Oh, right, that's
why.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
To get in the waterlogged depths beneath the cathedral. Wow. There he is. Yeah. So that was all down in the crypt. Oh, fantastic. There's some of the notes that were made. So the cathedral's east and west were built on softer, wetter ground. It suffered from subsidence and cracking. Its walls and windows are still considerably deformed as a result. It was feared that a significant part of the cathedral was in danger of collapse. There's the ceiling. You can get a bit closer to a part of it now. Okay. So, the Kingdom of Wessex of the West Saxons became the most powerful of all the territories in the centuries after 450, establishing by Anglo-Saxon settlers who came from the North Sea.
And what it says, Alfred had me made. Wow. And he commissioned that.
And, the family of Alfred moved about in Wessex between several seats of power, valued Winchester as one of the most important centres.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
King Harold, father of King Alfred, together with Swithin, who was a bishop, began restoring the former Roman town of Venta Bagarum during a period of Viking attacks. Okay, the king's in Winchester.
Oh, that's not fun.
So, Egbert, Ethel, Edward, which would have been Edward the First, Richard, Duke of Normandy,
Down there at the moment.
Richard II, Richard III, William the First, which is William the Conqueror,
Yeah, no.
Edward the Martyr,
It was found in the 18th century by an agricultural labourer. He gave it to the farmer. The
Okay.
farmer gave it to the Bodleian Library in Oxford, and they passed it on to the Ashmolean.
That's Queen Emma.
After the year 1000, civil wars and renewed Viking invasions disrupted England once more. By 1016, Ethelred II, the Unready, had been defeated by the Danes. Canute created a strong and powerful kingdom with an empire that includes Denmark and Norway, and he married Ethelred's widow, Emma. Their marriage created a strong Christian partnership. Their son Harthacnut was the last of the Anglo-Danish dynasty, and he was buried at Winchester. The reign of his half-brother Edward the Confessor, who was crowned in Oldminster on Easter Day 1043, was a turning point in English history. And this is Queen Emma. So Queen Emma was King Canute's wife. That's a facial reconstruction. I don't really know who he was, who he is. Yeah, but So I think this is what they're setting out, this area that we're in today. So the mortuary chests, we'll see a couple of those in a minute. Some of them are downstairs, you can see them. We'll take another quick look at those. So those are mortuary chests.
They must have figured nobody would be able
Yeah, when they're old enough to take it in, yeah.
We were told that actually what happened is up here there are the bones of kings and queens and the greater good from the area. Yeah, remains of 1 queen, 7 kings and 6 bishops.
Wow.
That's it. That's it. These are mortuary chests. It says the ancient royal bones were first collected together by Bishop Henry of Blois in the 1150s, who raised them up in the lead coffins around the high altar. They were placed in these painted oak mortuary chests in the mid-1400s, which in turn were enclosed in new chests with Renaissance details and bearing the royal names in the 1530s. There's also said the head of an ox, camel or giraffe found amongst the bones and textiles in the mortuary chest. This broken figure may have been swept up with the scattered bones after the disturbances in 1642, when 6 mortuary chests are said to have been destroyed by parliamentarian forces. This may have been a figure from a nativity scene or from a statue of a saint. Well. What?
The only
This is
surviving early
a wall
painting, that.
wall painting of an angel.
The only surviving example.
Yeah, the only surviving example from King Alfred's dynasty. Okay, so pardon?
There's another level.
Is there?
I think so.
How do you get that? Well, look. Turn round. Don't go any higher, loser. There isn't. Right, working our way downstairs now. Christine seems to think there's another level, but there isn't. Oh, okay. Well, come on. I don't know if you can see that. There's the roof beams.
This is not the Winchester Cathedral life, but this is a private and personal decision by a 16th century bishop.
So it's just a library that was dedicated or left to the cathedral. I'll read that to you. There's great churches like Winchester Cathedral, built to the glory of God. Winchester was also a centre of royal power. God was worshipped here, and kings, living or dead, were honoured in this church, which remains a place of worship and living faith. There are many stories and treasures to discover. One great treasure is the illuminated Winchester Bible, commissioned 900 years ago by a bishop who was a member of the royal family.
We'll get some sandwiches for Tesco's.
That video.
What? Where's it say that?
There's no photographer.
Where? Oh, does it?
Yeah. These are them pictures you couldn't see downstairs. I've come upstairs and zoomed in. Amazing.
Okay, the bit there where I got told you were not allowed to film on there, it was because there's a Bible in there that Winchester Bible was written 900 years ago, and it is the only copy. There is nothing else. There's no copies of it. There's no nothing. It's the original, and they're trying to protect it. And it only come out once every now and again. Anyway, those are the chests up above there, of which have the remains and everything in, the mortuary chests. So,
better than the dictator. And I think in his early life, he was okay,
but like I say, there's a mixture of bones in them. But there's a 6. 6. The bones that we saw upstairs, which was King Canute's wife, are not the real bones. They're a copy. It's actually illegal to display royal bones, things like that, which we found out. They're really interesting.